They've used every tool available. Genealogists comb through paper trails stretching back hundreds of years. Whoa! While DNA experts utilize the latest advances in genetic analysis to reveal secrets that have lain hidden for generations. That's a little shocking.
I'm gonna cry.
And we've compiled it all in a book of life, a record of everything we found. I wasn't expecting that.
Wrong side of history.
I think this is someone who wanted a little redemption. Yeah, I can relate. Kristen and Dax have been together for almost 20 years, and they may think that they're as close as they can be. But in this episode, they're going to discover that they have far more in common than they even imagined, and see each other more completely than ever before.
I think it ends a couple days. So I'm assuming that the one event for Overwatch will probably end at like whenever they do reset on Tuesday or whatever. So you just have to play. Well, no, I wonder if it's a certain time frame that they ban you at.
At Gilead, we know this is what it takes to ignite change. All of us working together
that's.
to end the HIV epidemic.
I know that's how my one friend. I think that's how my one friend was. He had to play at a certain time depending on when it went through, but it could be wrong.
Each person is a class worker.
We stood on some pretty broad shoulders to get to where we're at today.
At Johnson & Johnson, we're working to connect health and care for every provider, for every patient, for everyone. Because we know what those simple words can do. Johnson & Johnson, the health and care company.
Don't ask why I'm playing Dwayne. I was looking at my characters earlier.
The Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation. Candace King Wheel.
Okay.
And by the Inkwood Society.
So just,
together
I guess
with many of its members.
we'll play before the reset so you can try to get that Mercy skin. It's on a Tuesday.
Also provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by generous contributions to your PBS station by viewers like you.
I'll play it with you for a little bit. I'll just take a nap. Like you do. Just not for hours. Yeah, I know. I was talking that with that Axelot, I'm like, this man is just getting me up all night, I swear.
Over the past 2 decades, she's become an icon, and won fans of all ages by crafting an array of indelible characters, starring in cult classics.
I love people. I love people too.
Blockbuster film franchises.
I wish it could be like that.
And prestige TV. The common thread, Kristen has the ability to take any role, hero or
Oh, Human Torch.
embrace it, and make us laugh. It's a talent she can run for as long as she can remember.
I think it's starting.
Yeah, no, I know the Axolotl, I guess, is
I've always been really
like happy or whatever because they can duo with him. I'm playing Iron Man or something.
station or a bus or the
I guess they're gonna be good together.
area. And that kind of stuff.
Also, the 5.5 banner is gonna be the new 5-star in Cloud Retainer. Oh, they're bringing back Venti, I forgot.
Myself, hear those sounds fall out of me. And so that started being mimicked voices on the radio and from television. And then I was doing those songs.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of shit going around right now about it. So.
The experience, and I also felt like a sense of purpose, and I was like, how can I work this into something else?
Yeah. People are just, I guess, pissed off, but it's like they're gonna start adding characters that are like that or more like diverse, and people just need to grow up. Because she's not like No, because she's not skinny.
She chose the theater program at NYU, and I picked on Broadway.
I dreamed of New York. The only thing I cared about was getting to New York as quickly
Yeah, I
as
guess there's a whole, like,
possible. And then at NYU,
forum
you're supposed to audition. You're supposed to study your
right
craft.
now
And I was very
going on about it.
But I was also a rascal, so I was definitely auditioning all the time. And that's when I booked Tom Sawyer, which was my first Broadway show.
How did your teachers react?
Someone,
Look, they weren't thrilled. Okay.
it was not me. It's I brought the RPD. I still have the RPD because I keep forgetting to take it off.
Confident. I said to my teachers, "Are you or are you not training me to be a professional actor?" I felt like that was a checkmate.
I just want a new male character.
I said, "This is the chance." And I said to my parents, "Yes, I will have to drop out of school because I dropped out the beginning of my
No, we
third
need
year."
like an emo male character, honestly.
What I want to do with my life,
A new pyro character.
Did that work?
No, they still weren't thrilled. No one was thrilled.
Yeah,
They
new
were
pyro.
supportive, but everyone was
Yes.
really hesitant. 'Cause that's a big.
Hi.
If you're about to get a degree and
Wow.
you say, "No, forget it.
Sure.
I'm just gonna go start to work and see if I can be a struggling actor."
Thanks.
No one who cares about your well-being.
Knife fall you to
really
the ends of the
wants
earth.
it. Great job, but thankfully, it worked out.
The decision, of course,
Probably somewhere in front of us.
just 3 years later, Kristen was cast in the hit series Veronica Mars. In her days,
I wonder who it is. Probably some asshole.
she's been in the limelight ever since. But for all she's accomplished in front of her, Kristen says her greatest success has occurred off-screen.
Oh, so that update that they did today was the voice recognition
The actor and comedian
for Baz. Yeah.
Jack's kind of opened my mind, and marriage opened my mind, so the book is so much more gray than you think it is. So much more
Yes.
compassion to be had for the gray. We're all just monkeys half the time before we die, right? We're staying There's a lot of
I seen a video of people playing earlier and they were like freaking out because they were getting murdered.
shame that they celebrated as
Knox Lotto can fully like talk shit to the ghost.
authentically me since I've met my husband. Because he's been
course.
such a huge safety net of like, it's okay if that you regret.
Right.
But most of all, what I think I've learned is that like life can be, if you choose, really about having fun with people.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing to say.
Yeah, it can be like life just as much as any other couple.
Sure.
But there's a trusting foundation underneath it that you've got each other.
Yeah.
And I hope you can say the same.
Turning from Kristen to Dax, it was easy to see why they're so well matched. He shares her values, her Michigan background, and
You
above all,
bitch.
just like her, Dax.
She's got
Find
fucking
humor in just about
Franklin's.
any situation. But for Dax, it's a talent born of necessity. His parents divorced when he was 3 years old, leaving him to be raised by a young mother in the face of some daunting
I
challenges.
hate you.
Jokes were survival mechanisms. There was some chaos in the house
So now I don't. Sad now I don't know where your freaking med kit is.
Attempting
It's a Franklin's.
to regulate the energy in the room. So if I could say something pretty funny before things boiled over, that I know that
That's why you don't have the full hag outfit, so joke's on you.
and ultimately give me a gift. So that's all.
She's putting a trap down.
Dax's comic gift would propel his career, leading him from the
Oh my
improv
God.
stage, starring roles on sitcoms and films,
Oh, I like mine.
Can't believe there's still hag players like this. Crazy.
as the co-host and co-creator of Armchair Expert, the extraordinarily successful podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Dax's sense of humor would also serve as Josh's romantic. He met Kristen at a low point in his life.
And this teammate's just
Still had
stupid.
the mind to be entertained.
I had broken up with a
She didn't put down a trap this time.
So I was not in the market for anything. I was quite distracted.
She's
by
coming
the
back though.
I remember she was there because she was telling the story about getting a unbelievable that this movie star is this excited about 20% off. And then I learned maybe she was from Michigan at that time, and that made sense. I'm like, okay, we're both frugal, but there was no real connection. And then probably 3 weeks later, or 2 weeks later, I went to a Detroit Red Wings game, playing LA Kings here in LA, and she too had she's obsessed with the Red Wings. And I was with friends, and we're halftime, we're going to get some concessions, and he starts talking to her. And while we're talking, she said, "Hey, you were at Thomas Perfect Park." "Oh, yeah." And then we started talking, and I thought, well, how did I miss this? The most charismatic human. And we started talking, and we have never stopped talking or not been together for almost 17 years now.
During their years together, Dax and Kristen have worked with each other on film, launched a business, and most significantly, are raising 2 daughters. An experience, according to Dax, that has fundamentally transformed them both.
My story prior to having kids was my father left and I was the victim. And then about a year and a half into having our first daughter, I realized, oh no, he was the victim. It's so much more powerful on this side than it was on the child side. Being a parent is so special. And Kristen would say the same thing. We've been overly lucky in life. We've been to so many spectacular places and spectacular people. And this is a single experience.
Gino, stop it.
This is
I was almost about to be done with this shit.
Both have answers, more optimistic, even in the face of tremendous optimism. It's time to bring their stories to light. I started with Kristen Bell, and with her maternal grandfather, a man named Bernard Fregier. Bernard was a beloved figure in Kristen's childhood, a source of immense affection, despite the fact that he'd endured a great deal of suffering.
He had a personality with us kids. The side I saw of him was loving and joyful and playful and kind of ready for anything. He would always let us like sit on his lap and we would watch TV together, read the TV guide. He had a fake knee. He'd always let us trace his scar. He had his thumb ripped off and it looked like this, and he would let us sit there and play with it. Like, he was very loving. But I remember hearing from my mom about flight and that happened to him during his
She's been on a trap, you
But I
bitch.
never saw that side. He either bottled it up or worked through it in therapy, and I don't think it's the latter.
Our researchers soon understood how Kristen meant. Her grandfather's work belied experiences that would have broken many people. The story begins in the National Archives, where we found Bernard joining the United States Army just months after
Date of entry into active service, March 27th, 1942. Oh wow, he was 22. At Fort Benjamin, Harrison, Indiana. Military Occupational Specialty Platoon Sergeant.
What do you imagine happened to your grandfather joining the Army at such a dark time?
I would imagine he was terrified. He was married to my grandmother at this point, and I imagine that. I mean, because I would be terrified, but I don't know. I guess I would love to ask some of my family what his thoughts were about it. Maybe he felt an honor and a duty to do it. Not what it is, no, not what it is, not his grandkids. I think he did later in his life to my mom and my aunt.
Bernard's circumstances had a harrowing fate. His battalion spent over 600 days in combat. Many of them on
This
the front
blooped it
line,
person just
fighting across
blorped it, whatever.
Reports filed by his office detailed horrific conditions and extensive casualties. But the evidence revealed that Bernard proved himself a hero, by rescuing a wounded comrade in the heat of battle. An act of bravery that earned him a Silver Star. Did you know about that?
I didn't know the specifics. I knew that he had risked his life to save a couple people.
Shit's
and
almost
that's why he
done.
felt the
Hold
middle
on.
man. But I didn't know the specifics.
On February 18th, 1944, your grandfather actually saved the life of a fellow soldier under heavy mortar and artillery fire.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Bernard himself was wounded in combat. He was lucky to survive.
I'm just gonna go try to get this idiot.
But as we dug deeper,
He just killed himself.
just how much he'd already survived before
No.
he even put on it.
So now you got pickles?
And the archives include the
No. Got Dill Pickle Ranch in there? Green Valley Ranch? Oh my god,
shows of a car accident. Right
grab
in
pickles.
This was
Dill
my
Pickle.
grandfather's little brother.
Dill Pickle chips.
Yes. And he died at just 5 years old of a fractured skull.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
How do you think it affected your grandfather?
I don't even know how I would begin to describe that. It's horrific enough to think of seeing that happen to a stranger, let alone happen to another adult, let alone happen to another child or your child. I can't even begin to see how he would have processed that. I guess the string of his life seems to be a lot of these traumatic events.
Of course.
He this very grateful person when he was older. But this is a lot to take in.
In the wake of his brother's
She's just gonna
death,
mori me.
younger another loss. His father, a man named Frank Virginia, abandoned the family. Frank is Kristen's great-grandson, and neither she nor any of her relatives knew where he went or what he came from. His fate, simply a mystery. But we solved it, revealing that Frank eventually moved here with his sister
Because
in
us teammates.
New Jersey, where he worked as a porter and maintenance man at a local hospital before passing away in 1966, more than 30 years after he last saw his children. At the time, your grandfather Bernard was 45 years old and living in Ohio, 430 miles away. Your mom was 13 years old,
Wow.
so she never met her grandfather. What's it like to learn this?
You know, it seems like I don't, you know, just putting the pieces together, from looking at it from above, I think Joey's death really affected him. And I think that stands to reason when you think about losing a child and how it can uproot your entire existence. That level of pain. Parents aren't supposed to see their kids pass away before they do.
As it turns out, Frank had seen a great deal of suffering long before he lost his son. He was born in 1889 in a village in Poland, where his parents were farmers. And in the Polish State Archives, we found death records for 4 of his siblings, all of whom died before their 3rd birthday. We also saw that Frank's mother passed away when he was just 13 years old.
Heavy. Heavy, 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 heavy.
What's it like to see that?
I mean, this is very informative, and the deeper you go, the more you understand. You do that with characters that you're playing too, or any individual you try to have an interpersonal relationship with. Now I kind of understand why Frank, you know, made a lot of decisions that might not have been on the up and up.
Yeah.
Oof. Oh, that's so sad.
We had one more detail to share regarding Kristen's great-grandfather. The passenger log of his ship that arrived at Ellis Island in September of 1910. On board was Frank, traveling on his own at the age of 21 years old, leaving his widowed father and his home behind forever.
Oh, wow.
What do you think that was like for Frank? Saying goodbye to his father back home, not knowing if he'd ever see him again?
He must have been gutsy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess a lot of 21-year-old young men could be gutsy. Clearly wanted to have a different life than his father.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
After all that we've learned about Frank,
Yeah.
what do you think Frank would have made of Kristen?
Well, I would hope that he would be able to see that the generational trauma has waned a little bit, and that unfortunately he got the short end of the stick having to go through all of it,
Yeah.
but it yielded some really happy results with me and my life and my kids.
You want to say poor guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I hope he'd be happy to know that we're happy now.
Like Kristen, Dax Shepard was about to see his own face traced back from the familiar figures of his childhood to ancestors who live in a far more forbidding world. The journey began in Sturgis, Michigan, at a roadside motel once owned by Dax's maternal grandfather, a man named Joel LeBeau. Growing up, Dax spent many happy hours.
It was a very fun place to get lost and snoop around and go into utility closets and look at the ice machine and all this stuff. And my mother just adored my hippie, we called him. Very self-made, taught himself pipe fitting, built
It's either-
a business, saved
It's Wesker, I think.
Flipped them, had rental things, all to save up to buy this motel, and that was really his legacy. He was industrious dude, incredibly hardworking, industrious man who also loved the opera and loved play and was pretty cosmopolitan. It was his Frenchness. He was very proud of his Frenchness. Yeah, totally.
Now, trains and it took us a very long time just to get out of Michigan. Indeed, this branch of Dax's family has lived in his home state for over 2 centuries.
Oh shit.
Starting with his own great-grandfather.
Okay, cat lady ran into him.
Alexei was born in 1792, likely near Detroit. He lived through a time of tremendous upheaval. He was 20. Tensions between the United States and England exploded into what became known as the War of 1812. And Alexei volunteered to serve in the local militia. A decision he likely soon came to regret. The 16th of August, 1812, he was captured a prisoner.
You want a cold Italian sub?
A survivor raised by one Captain Ellis, a British officer under the surrender by General Paul. Your ancestor was taken as prisoner in the war. Wow. I had no idea. Yeah, how about that? I'm going to rethink all my plans. I'm going to ask you right now. Alexei would be held prisoner for years. Then, upon his release, he would face another requirement. He settled near LaSalle, Michigan, what was then the American frontier. To make a living, he first had to clear his land out of
7 minutes is
debt.
all I can spare.
And with fierce winter. But in the end, he persevered. Indeed, Alexei lived only roughly 80 years old. Long enough, even before that, allowing Dax the chance to meet his ancestor face to face.
Well, you know what you see immediately is he's lost his teeth. Right? We don't have to.
Bitch, go the other way.
You can visibly see the man probably doesn't have any teeth. It was rough.
Go in the library.
You see any resemblance to your mom?
Okay.
No, thank God. This is a very old man.
Good. I block you.
Do you feel more connected to Michigan? Your family's
It might be outside.
I'm deeply proud of being from Michigan for whatever reason.
Okay.
It's just peculiar. I love it. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's really cool that a family member of mine's like one of the originals.
Yeah.
It's probably the one by where the helicopter area is, if I'm thinking.
Moving on from Alexei, we finally left Michigan and found ourselves in Belweir.
Move, teammate.
Western France. Dax's grandfather, a man named Toussaint Beaudry, was baptized here in 1639, and his family may well have lived in the area for centuries.
Okay, it's not in the normal area that it usually is, so there's gotta be another one somewhere. It's gonna be somewhere else.
In 1664, when Toussaint was 25 years old, he booked passage on a ship bound for Canada. He was taking an extraordinary risk. Wow. 44 years after the main.
If you're working at Gen, there's that one in the
Skip, you and I would not
library that I was working on.
on this boat.
After you heal yourself.
Imagine boarding that thing. Whoa. Oh my lord.
I would have been terrified the whole time.
Plus seasick. And probably days with no wind that you're sitting there wondering if you'll ever
No, I didn't see it outside where I found it.
Yeah,
It's over where I just got
When Toussaint
over here.
boarded his ship, France
Fuck
was a
that.
politically class-based
Okay.
society. They likely had few opportunities for advancement. So
Right near where I got knocked, I can see it. Ugh.
hoping to improve his life.
I see it right there.
Fortunately,
Okay.
those hopes take time to materialize. 2 years after he arrived in Canada, we found Toussaint performing an unusual job.
Oh, he's looking me right near it too.
Domestic service at a hospital in Montreal, and was working on the hospital's small farm with 11 other men. Yeah.
working at a hospital.
Yes, farming for the, the patients and the staff.
Yeah, weird.
This is like unhooked. I'll go for that thing. It's right there in front of me. Or behind me, technically.
Oh, well, I could have done that.
Hopefully he goes for you and not me, so then I can go back and get it. Thrilled to hunt. Yeah. It's funny that I was just over here. This one blends in so well with where it's at, though. Like stupidly well.
We don't know how long Tom spent in the fur trade. There are no records to tell us. But by 1672, he returned to Montreal and married a woman named Barb Barbier. Barb is Dax's ninth great-grandmother. She and Toussaint would have at least 9 children together. But their happiness would not last.
On 24 January 1694, Barb Barbier,
Oh my god.
Toussaint Beaudry, was buried in our church in the presence of almost the entire parish.
Your ancestor died in childbirth in 1694. She was 40 years old. The child was a boy named Siegel, who was born 3 hours prior to her death. He died about 8 months later.
It's hard to imagine. I often think about Lincoln having lost, 2 children while he's in
So after this one, I'm gonna eat dinner. Because I'm hungry. I got you. I'll feed you.
Toussaint himself passed away just a year after his wife, leaving their children alone. They likely struggled mightily just to survive. But somehow, the family endured. Their descendants would eventually make another immense journey to Michigan, roughly 600 miles from Montreal and more than 3,000 miles from Toussaint's birthplace in France. Say all this for you, of yourself, knowing that you have
Thank you. Thank you.
tradition and these experiences.
Yeah, it has me. I don't know what this says about the power of stories. I want to go to this place in France. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I want to see it. I would like to sit there and think, well, what would you imagine that Atlantic that you would leave here? It must have a pretty active imagination.
We'd already traced Kristen Bell's paternal roots back to Poland, revealing her great-grandfather's tragic secrets. Now, turning to Kristen's maternal ancestry, we encounter a very different kind of secret. The story begins in a place called Castleton in Livingston.
You guys ever finish that gen in the library? You finished it, right? Okay.
It provides a detailed description of Kristen's seventh great-grandfather, a man named William Bell.
No.
Well, please read the transcript.
The above mentioned William has always borne a very good character, and so far as I have known her, very deservedly, always looked upon as mostly well-disposed, sober, honest, and industrious.
Team, I swear to God, you bring him over here, we're gonna have fucking problems.
Which cannot fail to recommend him to the favorable regard of every good man, where he and his family may come. Stand up guy.
You stand up,
We
guy.
like hearing good reviews. We like good reviews, resumes, hard work. That's fun to know that other people recommended him as a good character.
Ever hear of Harry Castleton?
No.
Pennsylvania? That's a good guess.
You didn't give me a guess. Right.
Yep.
Oh.
On the map on the right. See where it's located?
Scotland! We're
Scotland. Kristen has deep roots in what are called the Borders, a rural region between Scotland and England. But there's a reason about it. The letter
I hate you. Get away from me.
written at her seventh great-grandfather's request, because William intended to move his family far from the Atlantic. The Bells were making arrangements to leave their home. Please turn the page.
At least you got to work on that one. Blue, flippy babe, blue.
Before the outbreak of the American Revolution. And record would suggest that the family was running an inn on their property. Patriot forces seized a British fort by Broken to Europe, less than 50 miles away. Aiming to distance ancestors were suddenly faced with a very famous.
He's opening up the front door, or the one. Okay.
This is just a stab in the dark, but I feel like since they got here, they set us here, we're gonna go on.
This guy's such a weirdo.
Is that all you have?
If you were personally hunted
What a dickhead. Let me back out of the lobby so if you want to play while I'm eating, don't disturb you. I'll be back. Tucker, leave me alone.